Good evening, everyone. We're going to call this meeting to order. The time is 7:30. This is the regular council meeting of July 11th. Clerk, can you please do a roll call?
Councilwoman Aaron? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Bliss?
Here.
Councilman Fleming?
Here.
Councilor Rohrbach?
Here.
Councilman Soltis?
Here.
Councilor Wright?
Here.
Mayor Grassley?
I'm here, thank you. The invocation and the pledge this evening will be led by Councilman Fleming. Mr. Fleming, when you're ready. And if you could rise if you are able, please.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion and allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture our community. Guide us while we conduct our work together towards a common goal of unity and progress. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First up, we have approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions this evening? All right, seeing none, we'll move straight into public hearings. First up from the CED Director, the rezoning request for PRZN 22-01, Ordinance 2184, to rezone the properties on DeQuinder from R2 one-family residential to RM multiple family residential. This is the second reading. Mrs. Marsh?
The applicant Hudson Madison 2 LLC requests to rezone 3 parcels of land at 30151, 30171, and 30183 DeQuinder from R2 one-family residential to RM multiple family residential. The subject properties are located on the west side of DeQuinder Road, south of Oakland Drive. The 3 subject properties contain a total of 2.86 acres and are improved with single-family detached homes and their accessory structures. The applicant requests a rezoning from RM in order to construct a senior living, assisted living, and memory care facility on site, which is permitted as a special use within the RM district. The reserve, the new facility, currently located on DeQuinder, will be associated with this new assisted senior living facility. While approval of the rezoning does not constitute special use or site plan approval, the applicant has applied for special use approval under item 4 on this agenda. City Council should consider all of the potential uses that could be developed on this site if it were to be rezoned RM. Uses permitted by right within the RM district include 1 and 2 family dwellings, multiple dwellings, and rental management offices accessory to multiple dwelling unit developments. Uses permitted as a special use include convalescent homes and general hospitals. The Planning Commission held a public meeting on May the 17th and recommended approval of the requested rezoning. Based on Planning Commission's findings and recommendation, staff recommends that the City Council approve this rezoning request and adopt Ordinance 2184 upon second reading after the required public hearing.
All right, thank you. So at this point, I'm going to open the meeting to the public to specifically talk about this rezoning request. So if you have something to say about this specifically, I invite you to the podium. We will do public comment or other issues and just in general later, but right now this is specifically for this rezoning on DeQuinder. With that, I'm going to open it up to the public. And I'm going to close it to the public, and we have one comment that's come in.
Oh, you know what, I'm sorry, this is for the special approval, not the rezoning.
Okay, so I have closed that. There were no comments. What is the wish of council?
Your Honor.
Yes, please.
I move that council concurs with the findings of the Planning Commission and staff, and that we approve rezoning request PRZN 22-01 and adopt ordinance number 2184 upon second reading.
All right, thank you. Is there support? Yes. Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Mr. Bliss?
I just want to share here the same thoughts that I shared with the Planning Commission when we first talked about this. With this addition, we now have 3 landlocked parcels behind that we'll need a plan for, and then the only one that will be left that is residential, that is not landlocked, has actually been operating through a special use approval from council since the 80s, and it's not even residential. So I know staff has been looking into what do we do with those others, and I think assuming that this is approved, and I will be voting yes, we also need to take action on the other ones, because for future land use, it doesn't make sense to have, one parcel as residential next to all of this development.
All right, thank you. Are there any other comments from council?
Your Honor,
Please.
if I'm correct on this, this is the same company that obviously built the new senior center, is that correct?
Yes.
And so, but wasn't that the same company that they tried to apply for a low-income grant and failed to get it?
Yes.
We were believed to think that they were gonna have that part of it, but it didn't. So, okay, I just wanted to clarify that thing.
Yes, that was, council approved something based on them attempting to get something from the state. The state did not approve, so council rescinded our approval. Is there any other,
Your Honor,
please?
clarify that council rescinded their approval for low-income housing over the.
No.
No, they applied for, the city council approved what we call a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes, in order for the new facility, which is called the Reserve, to apply for special financing through MSHA. So that's very competitive, and they weren't successful in that. So therefore, our pilot didn't need to be out there, because the only reason to give the pilot was to qualify to apply for MSHA funding. So city council rescinded our approval of the pilot for the Reserve that has been built on DeQuinder.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments, questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against say no.
No.
All right, thank you. Motion carries 6-1. Next up, also CED Director, another rezoning request, PRZN 22-02, Ordinance 2185. It's to rezone 3 pieces of land on Stevenson from M1 Light Industrial to B3 General Business. This is also the second reading. Mrs. Marsh?
The applicant EWM Miller Wash LLC requests to rezone 3 parcels of land at 29022 Stevenson Highway from M1 Light Industrial to B3 General Business. The subject properties are located at the northeast corner of Stevenson Highway and East 12 Mile Road, immediately to the west of the I-75 interchange. The subject site contains a total area of approximately 1.14 acres. The site is improved with an existing 3,285 square foot commercial structure currently occupied by Cole's Place Restaurant. The applicant requests a rezoning to B3 in order to construct an auto care wash facility, which is permitted as special use within the B3 district. Note that approval of the rezoning would not constitute special use or site plan approval. However, the applicant has applied for special use approval under item 3 on this agenda. City Council should consider all of the potential uses that could be developed on this site if it were to be rezoned B3. Uses permitted by right within the B3 district include but are not limited to general retail, personal services establishments, sit-down and drive-through restaurants, professional offices, new car auto sales and showrooms, and mixed-use developments. Uses permitted through the special approval process include but are not limited to gas stations, auto car washes, bars, and motor vehicle repair facilities. Staff notes that a rezoning to B3 would remove the subject parcels from the marijuana overlay district. Medical and adult use marijuana establishments would not be permitted once rezoned to B3. At the May 17th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and recommended the approval of this rezoning request. Based on the Planning Commission's findings and recommendations, staff recommends that the City Council approve this rezoning request and adopt Ordinance 2185 upon second reading after the required public hearing.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'm going to open the meeting to the public to specifically talk about this rezoning on Stevenson. So if anyone wants to speak regarding this specific rezoning, please, podium.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council members, good evening. My name is John Gaber. I'm the attorney for the applicant in this matter. My address is 380 North Old Woodward, Suite 300, Birmingham, Michigan, 48009. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity of considering our rezoning request. As is laid out in the staff report and such, we think it makes a lot of sense for this site to be rezoned B3, regardless of what the use is. We'll be back later, obviously advocating for our use, but because if you look at the commercial uses, this is a perfect site. It's basically a standalone site because it's got roads almost on three sides with the I-75 interchange on the east, 12 Mile on the south, and then you have Stevenson Highway on the west, and you have the Water Resources Commission facility to the north. So it's kind of like an isolated parcel along 12 Mile. And if you look at, excuse me, if you look at 12 Mile in that area, between Stevenson and John R. essentially, it's all commercial. Most of the sites are zoned B3, not all, but most of the sites. And you see around this facility to the immediate west is a gas station convenience store. And then south in Royal Oak, you have a Panda Express. You've got a Kroger with a fuel station. And then you cross Stevenson, you have an auto repair. You have some other retail facilities. And then going the other side of I-75, you have Lowe's, you have Home Depot, BJ's, and quite a few outlots that have primarily restaurant type of uses. So those are all commercial uses along that corridor. So we think it really makes sense to, given the fact that the existing use of the site is a commercial use, the restaurant, and up and down that corridor from Stevenson to John R. is just about all commercial, that it makes sense for the rezoning of this site to be commercial, to be consistent with the streetscape and the uses in that commercial area. And then also, there really is no adverse impact to the immediate neighbors. As I mentioned, the Water Resources Commission's to the north, a gas station, auto repair, and the I-75 interchange are what surround us. So we don't think there'd be any adverse impact to our neighbors of that rezoning either. For those reasons, we would respectfully request approval of the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to speak regarding the specific property, the rezoning? All right, I'm going to close public comment. Nothing from the clerk this evening? Okay, thank you. What is the wish of council? That's right.
I'd like to make a motion that City Council approve rezoning request PRZ 22-02 and adopt ordinance number 2185 upon second reading.
Thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, I'll support.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion from council?
Your Honor?
Please.
Just two quick questions for staff. The first is on the zoning itself. So the existing use is a restaurant. Was that operating off of special approval, or is that also allowed in the light industrial that it's currently under? Your Honor?
Please.
That site has historically been a restaurant. The city was involved in leasing a strip of land, part of which relates to their parking lot, going back to the 1970s. So it was a Denny's restaurant for probably 40 years plus, and it's been a restaurant use since.
And Councilman, it is a use permitted by right in the Lake District, so it is a foreign use as well.
Okay, and so that would not change regardless of this vote?
Correct. If for some reason the special use, which is considered later on today, does not go through, the rezoning does, the use would still be a use permitted by right.
Thank you. And then my second question, one of these parcels was city property. Has that deal closed, or is that contingent upon what happens tonight?
Please.
That's contingent upon the end user, the car wash, getting all of its approvals so that the property is suitable for its intended use. Agree with that comment, Mr. Gaber?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion from council this evening? Questions, comments? Please.
So I just want to clarify, I guess, for the audience too. So if we rezone it, then the car wash can go there. And if we don't, then, so if we do, excuse me, if we rezone it, the car wash can go there, which means that the marijuana companies cannot go there? Is that what I heard?
If we rezone it, the marijuana companies cannot go there, okay? The car wash would need to get special approval, so it's not a by right.
Car wash, marijuana. What about the environmental aspect of it? I know we have car washes and gas stations and so forth, but do we do any type of study about how it would affect the environment?
I'm gonna actually defer that question for now, because right now, we're not actually going to vote about whether or not we're going to allow a car wash. That is the second part. So this is specifically for rezoning. So if this is approved, then next up will be their request to put in a car wash, and that is a completely valid question at that point. Are you okay waiting?
Well, I think.
Assuming it gets approved?
I kind of waffle between the two, whether to go for it or not, and so that's why, if we can go for it, and it sounds like it will, then I just wanted to know what environmental impact, because I wouldn't necessarily, I would know that, I want to know that before I vote for it.
Right, so you're not, right now, this is not a vote to approve the car wash.
No, I understand, okay, good,
Okay, so just to reiterate what was already said, so, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but by right, if this is approved, mixed use, retail, services, office, those are by right, but a gas station, a car repair, a car wash, we would then need to approve that.
Your Honor,
Correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Most of the auto-oriented uses like a car wash, gas station require special land use through city council. But general retail, personal service establishments like barber shops, nail salons, professional offices,
Sure.
those are all that, right?
So approving this rezoning does not mean automatically that any kind of car business would go in there. All right, is there any other questions, comments, clarification? Council, Mr. Sherman?
The only thing I would add to the discussion is that if council were to rezone the property from M1 light industrial to B3 general business, what council is doing by that action is permitting any express use that's in that zoning district.
Okay. All right, any other comments? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against say no. Motion carries. Next up, the special approval. So this is a special approval, PSP 22-06, for this Stevenson location for the car wash. Mrs. Marsh?
The applicant EWM Miller Wash LLC is requesting special use approval for an auto wash facility known as Cosmos Car Wash to be located at 29022 Stevenson Highway that consists of 3 separate parcels currently zoned M1 light industrial that council just rezoned to B3. The applicant proposes to construct a modern express car wash on the site located at the northeast corner of Stevenson Highway and 12 Mile, immediately to the west of I-75. The subject site is currently improved with Cole's Place Restaurant. If the project is approved, the applicant would be required to combine these 3 parcels into one single parcel. The applicant has submitted a preliminary site plan and concept color renderings for the project. As proposed, the existing Cole's Place Restaurant would be demolished to accommodate a 4,870 square foot express car wash building. 19 outdoor self-service vacuum bays have been proposed. The preliminary plans depict a modern architectural facade and significant landscaping around the site and adjacent to the public rights of way. While staff has concerns regarding the proliferation of auto wash uses in Madison Heights, staff acknowledges that the site's location immediately to the west of I-75 12 Mile Road interchange makes it conducive for auto-oriented commercial uses such as this proposed project. Further, the applicant's concept plans depict an attractive modern facility with a landscape plan that goes above and beyond the city's minimum requirements. Staff offers the following findings for city council consideration. The proposed express car wash is compatible with the uses permitted in B3 General Business Zoning District and is compatible with adjacent land uses in this area. The proposed use will not be detrimental to the adjacent commercial or industrial properties. The proposed use is not completely aligned with the site's industrial future land use designation. However, staff recognizes that the existing auto-oriented nature of the 12-mile road I-75 interchange, as well as the existing nearby regional commercial uses located along 12-mile road, make this an appropriate use. The proposed use generally satisfies the special use approval review standards and criteria listed in section 10.2014. The applicant acknowledges the need to still apply for ZBA for several variances from the specific use standards of section 10.3268. The site plan review committee has reviewed the proposed special approval request at their June 29th meeting and did not cite concerns regarding the proposed special use. Separate site plan review committee approval will be required for the final site plan. Based on City Council's approval of the parcel rezoning, staff recommends that the City Council approve this requested special use with the following considerations. Resolve site plan deficiencies relating to building setback and outdoor self-service vacuum bays, or seek the appropriate variances through the ZBA. The hours of operation shall be limited to 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. as in accordance with section 10.3268, and the landscaping plan and building value elevations submitted with the site plan package shall be substantially consistent with the preliminary plans submitted with the special use application. And we do have, Anna's going to get it going, we do have the information that I just spoke about in visual form, maybe.
Just give us a minute.
It takes a second.
Is there someone doing the?
Okay, so does someone from the car wash company want to?
Is someone doing the presentation?
Okay, you're handing out.
Plus the over there.
Thank you again, Quality Car Wash, auto car wash facility in your community. And I just want to start with the fact that really this is a gateway area to your community. I mean, right now it's not the most attractive area in the city. And we plan to dress it up. As you've probably seen by the landscape plan, we're exceeding the landscape requirements. We're basically maxing out the site, and we'll go over that in terms of landscaping. But I have with me to share some information. I have our development manager, our civil engineer, and our president of operations. So I'd like to turn the floor over to them and have them kind of go through the slideshow and present you with the pertinent information.
Good evening. My name is John Pellegrin. I'm the development manager for the property. Business address is 410 North Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60611. So as John mentioned, we are looking to construct and operate a state-of-the-art express tunnel automatic car wash, which is not currently available in the immediate market. The Cosmos brand plans to open 6 locations in the Detroit metro area, with the first 3 starting in construction within the next 30 days. We are proposing a 125-foot tunnel with an equipment room and an office. We have 19 vacuums, which will be free for anyone to use, not just the customers of the car wash. And we also have 2 fully automated pay stations proposed. As mentioned earlier, we are planning to extensively landscape the site to improve the curb appeal of this prominent corner. I'd like to now turn it over to Cameron Ray to speak a little bit about operations and staff.
Hello, Mayor, Council. As John said, we are looking to construct a state-of-the-art facility, and just to be very, very high level, we want to increase our customer touch points, and we want to offer a service that is not available to the community as of right now. So more staffing on site. We will staff our site based on historical data. So basically, we'll look at high volume days and position employees at the location to assist with traffic flow, to ensure that we're not a detriment to the community, and to make sure that we are able to keep cars flowing on and off the lot without any adjacent streets being affected. Our staff will be dressed up professional. We are looking to be an amenity to the community and, you know, pay a fair living wage and hire professional employees that will be a breath of fresh air when it comes to the car wash community that is available in the immediate market right now. And we are looking to come in and be the exception to the norm and be a amenity and a business that the community of Madison Heights can be very, very proud of. Looking at our Cosmos principles real quick, our facility maintenance program, our commitment to customer service, premium customer amenities, our quality employment practices, and our scheduled community initiatives are just a few of the things that will set Cosmos apart. Very high level facility maintenance program. Our sites will be clean, inviting, and well lit at all times, even during off business hours. Professionally landscaped facilities, we will partner with a professional landscape service provider in this area to make sure that we're receiving weekly to bi-weekly services. Daily, weekly, and monthly maintenance and cleaning protocols, and then we will have a commitment to continue facility improvement. So we'll always be looking for ways in which to improve our site, not only for our employee and our work staff, but for the community as well. Customer service commitment. John spoke about our state-of-the-art equipment, our premium line of chemicals. Professionally trained greeters will be on site at all times to make sure that we're expediting the flow of traffic into the site. Our rigorous staff training protocols with our commitment to continued growth, as well as our increased customer touch points. We'll have staffing not only at our kiosks and our tunnel entrance, but we'll also be having staff circulating throughout the site to ensure that our community and our customers are serviced properly. Premium customer amenities, state-of-the-art point-of-sale systems to expedite service. Complimentary customer items will be handed out daily to all of our watch customers, and then we'll have vacuum lane amenities that will be free of charge as well. Quality employment practices. A commitment to maintaining a high level of professionalism by recruiting only highly trained, career-oriented team members to be a part of the Cosmos team, and then our rigorous pre-employment screening, including Social Security Administration as well as rigorous background checks. And lastly, this is one thing that we really pride ourselves on at Cosmos, our scheduled community initiatives. I've already reached out to the Madison School District as well as Kimberly Stewart there. Every year, we'll be doing back-to-school supply drops, which means basically customers can come in, turn over supplies, and we'll give them discounted watches to then turn over those supplies to the Madison School District. During Teacher Appreciation Week, we will give all of the Madison School District employees free watches. We will partner with local restaurants and the Madison School District to make sure that through our staff development days, teachers are there, they're working all day, they're hungry. Cosmos will provide lunch on selected days of the school year for those teachers to make sure that during staff development they are fed. Annual Thanksgiving food drive. We will collect dried and canned goods and dried foods in lieu of watch discounts and turn those over to the, I believe, in last check there were 2 food pantries here in Madison Heights, but we will continue to look at that and we will turn those donations over to the local food pantries. And then lastly, we will be a annual drop site for the USMCs, the Marine Corps Toys for Tots. We will collect those toys every year, turn those over to the USMC, and look for ways to continually partner with the Madison Heights community to make sure that we're always stewards of this community.
So we could comment on, just reviewing the one question about the water quality component.
I should have already commented on that. All of our, water conservation measures will be in place. We will retip our tunnels twice a year to make sure that we're only using the water that is deemed necessary. We'll also equate every all water usage to a cost per car to make sure that that is consistent across the board monthly to make sure that water conservation measures are in place. And then lastly, all of our chemicals will be eco-friendly, so as to no environmental hazards. And we have material safety data sheets and any information necessary to present to the council to ensure that we're only using chemicals that will be non-environmentally hazardous.
And we also have received some comments from staff already for the site plan review process. The current building has a combined sewer system. I believe it's one of the last ones in the city that's at the farthest, most upstream end, and so we'll be required to separate that, have a separate sanitary, separate stormwater connection, and through the regulations, we're required to have quantity and water quality components to that as well that will also treat just runoff from the site. So,
All of our grid trap waste will be tested per Madison regulations as well as the state of Michigan to make sure that we're in accordance with that as well.
Just wanted to go over a few points if I could, relative to your ordinance and the requirements in your ordinance about, special land uses and what you have to satisfy to get approval for special land use, that criteria. I'd like to go over a few of the highlights. I'm not going to go over all the criteria, which are pretty extensive. But the first is, as was mentioned, we do need 2 variances, and we will be submitting to the ZBA for a variance for the vacuums. Apparently your ordinance says that they have to be indoors as opposed to outside, which I think, as everyone knows, is not the standard in the marketplace. And then secondly, the setback, the front setback between where the car wash tunnel is and the MDOT property there is only 10 feet and it needs to be 20 feet. So we'll apply for a variance for that because we believe with all the green space out there, plus all the landscaping that we're installing on site, we believe that the 10-foot should be a sufficient setback for that purpose. So we'll pursue those variance requests. We believe that this is a site design that's certainly compatible with the surrounding area. We have a very efficient layout to utilize the site. The height will be about 30 feet, and it's a compatible fit with the surrounding area. As I mentioned, it's like a gateway to the community, and with all the landscaping, it will present itself that way. The access is designed to maximize safety and minimize adverse traffic impacts. As you can see, the driveway is as far north on Stevenson as we can go, and there's a single curb cut for ingress and egress. The site itself kind of circulates. If you go on the site, you go basically on a northeast direction to the, where you see those cars, and you go through the tunnel in that direction, and then you circle back around closer to the intersection, where you have the opportunity to exit the site or to go to the free vacuums that are offered in the middle. And in addition, the location of the driveway is pretty visible and open, so we don't see any site distance issues with that design, and the driveway being right there. As I mentioned, the screening is maximized. You can see the trees, the shrubs, the perennials, the ornamental grasses. I'm sure you noticed those in the renderings we submitted. Basically, the site is maxed out, and there are more of all of those features that are required by the ordinance. So we think we've set the standard with that. All utilities are available, obviously, and we believe that we minimize any adverse impacts with the surrounding properties because you've just got immediately adjacent to the north the Water Resources Commission. So we've got landscaping, and we really don't impact that site. And then you've got the roads on 3 sides, with the visibility being the landscaping of the site and the modern-looking tunnel facility that you saw in the renderings as well. So, basically for these reasons, and I'm sure you saw the handout, the addendum where I addressed all of those conditions, and for the other reasons that we explained, we believe this is a quality product. We believe that the community will be proud to have this as a gateway feature at I-75. We understand there are other car washes in the community, but we think this is a state-of-the-art facility in a particular area where you have these type of automotive uses. Most of the car washes are located along the John R. corridor. So we think this will be a location where this type of use will complement the gas station, the Kroger fuel station, the auto repair, the other auto-related services in that area. So for these reasons, we certainly ask for your approval, and we're here, obviously, the team to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak regarding this property? Please.
My name is Steve Gunn. I'm the owner and operator of Washpoint Car Wash. We have 5 locations, 2 of which are here in Madison Heights. My concern on this was when we went to council years ago, we tried to get a variance on the setback 10 feet to optimize our properties, in which we were denied at that point. And also we tried to have additional vacuum cleaners on our sites also, which once again were denied based off of noise concerns, litter concerns, just overall issues that they had. So we tried fighting it and went on for almost a year of litigation. With that being said, the city came to an agreement that allowed us to have 3 vacuum cleaners and 3 vacuum cleaners only. So kind of puts us at, a hindering, I guess, our business model. This is things that we have literally gone through this exact same issue years ago. The other issue that I had was the stacking space. So when we got approval then, they required us to have stacking space for 30 vehicles on our property until the vehicles actually get out into the road. I'm a 4th generation car wash owner. My father here is with me. My great grandfather and my grandfather were also in the business, so we know what we talk about. Unfortunately, even our business with having 30 stacking spaces, and I'm sure some of you are probably aware of John R. and different locations, the ones in Gresham and other cities, busy days, we still run into issues. So, and that's at 30. I believe they're here with less than 20, if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely going to be issues. I know that's a new corridor that they're building right now with that traffic patterns, which none of us know how those traffic patterns are going to be, once it's actually built and designed. Could be some major concerns with traffic issues. Same thing with the setback. We don't know what the future, holds. Right now it may not be an issue because there's areas, but something in the, something in the future changes, those could be issues too. So I understand that the city is selling a portion of this land to the car wash. It sounds like that maybe they're kind of choosing between the lesser of 2 evils, either the car wash or the marijuana industry. I know that's kind of a big thing right now. I know it's kind of taken over cities. I just hope that this isn't something that they're looking at, let's put this car wash in here because we don't want to see, more marijuana business in our city. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Can you think of anything else? So, perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. Is there anyone else who wants to speak this evening specifically regarding this property and this special approval? All right, I am.
Madam Chair, can we address some of those concerns that were raised?
Sure.
Very good concerns. I will say 120-foot tunnel, our 120-foot tunnel will be capable of producing more than 140 cars per hour. So we are going to address the potential negative traffic issues with having staffing on site. We'll have a person positioned right at the curb cut of egress, positioning and moving customers, as well as a attendant at the exit end of the tunnel. And then, like I said, we will adjust our conveyor speeds to make sure that we're maximizing volume and not being a detriment on the traffic flow side. In addition, very last thing, vacuum producers. We will only have 2 to 3 vacuum producers on the site. The lanes, the producers will provide vacuum suction for the lanes for customers to pull in, but the producers will be positioned inside a brick enclosure covered with dampeners to make sure that there's no minimal noise coming out of those enclosures. That's how we'll address that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who, in the public, who wishes to speak regarding this? Okay. Sure. And Mr. Gunn, I'm going to leave it with you. And then Mr. Benoit, you
The vacuums that he's talking about, so the vacuums that we do have at our facilities, they have a 2 horsepower motor in them. They're about this big. The vacuum turbines that they're talking about putting in are about the size of a small vehicle. These things are 40 to 60 horsepower each. They do make a very loud noise, even in a surrounded, cavity. The equivalent, I don't know if you've been through any of my sites before, but our blowers that blow off the vehicles, we run about 60 horsepower blowing off the vehicles. When we went through council the first time on this, the council at the time actually made us build a 2,000 square foot building on the end of our building so that the blowers would, essentially the noise would face John R. instead of facing directly from the building, just because of the amount of noise from these, vacuums or blowers, whichever you want to call them. So, anything else? Oh, the speed of the tunnel, yeah. So, so I operate anywhere from, we have sites as small as 55 feet on the conveyor up to 130 feet on our conveyor. So I'm completely familiar with how fast you could process vehicles. Our John R. location is 121 feet, which is actually a foot longer than this one here. We max out on our busy days around 150 cars an hour. We still, with even 30 car stacking space, still run into issues, unfortunately, from time to time, with cars backing up into John R. So it just depends on volumes, oops, sorry. I think it's about it. So,
right, thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you. Yep, you're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And gentlemen, you're welcome to sit down.
What were the hours of operation?
8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
8 a.m. to 10 p.m. All right, is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak regarding this? Okay, with that, I'm going to close public comments and ask what is the wish of council. All right.
Your Honor, I'll get there in a second. Just give me a second. It's a very big packet. I'm trying to scroll back up to the top here. Sorry. Okay. I move that council approves the special approval PSP 22-06 at 29022 Stevenson Highway for special use for auto wash.
All right, thank you. Is there support? That's right. Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion from council? Mr. Bliss? You both sort of timed on it.
So part of the reason that I voted against the transaction on selling the parcel was because it was done without knowing what use would be coming in to that property. And, as was put, there are only 6 reasons that we can turn down a special approval like this. And reason number 4 is the need for the proposed use in the specified area of the city. And as I sit here, there are easily, I think 10 or 11 car washes already in the existing footprint of the city. And it's tough for me to say that, taking what is now an existing restaurant that has been a restaurant for many decades, I think that there are other uses in the new rezoning that we've done that would more appropriately fit in with the neighbors and the compatibility of what our future land use plans could be. And so for those reasons, I am voting no. This is a big change to that corner, and I do not think that we have enough information right now to.
All right. Thank you. Councilwoman Aaron?
As I was sitting here looking, it's a great plan. Car wash will be beautiful. And having lived in that area for so many years, that's the last thing we need over there. It's a car wash. With, as they're bringing in, discussing the Kroger, and we have the dentist's office, and we have the haircut location. As a female, I would love to see more retail in that area. It would be wonderful to have places, and to say we'll demolish Cole's place. That's one of my favorite restaurants. That's not one of the reasons. But to demolish a restaurant, to bring in a car wash at this time, and I did go through and look at how many car washes are in the city, and we do have well over 8 car washes right now. All within, yes, as someone mentioned, on the John R. Strip, in that area. Yet, when we look at it, we have no retail in this area for anyone to run in and just pick up a pair of shoes or a pair of pantyhose if we need to be. So, for that reason, those reasons alone, I will be voting no on the car wash.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. Is there anyone else who has any comments? Mr. Soltis?
Can I have two homeowners, son and father? Can I ask you a couple questions? Would you mind going up first, sir? So could you explain, so you first originated this,
My son and me, we built that car wash in '05. My father and my grandfather go back in the car wash business all the way back to 1958 in the Detroit area here on the east side.
and then 1958?
58. The very first car wash in the United States was 1948 in downtown Detroit. And not too long after that, my grandfather got into business. And my father, it's just kind of a family business, a lot of years.
So why did you choose car wash?
My grandfather came down south from Kentucky, Tennessee area, a long, long time ago here to the factories, the auto plants and whatever. Got into the milk business. He was always an independent man, entrepreneur. And him and his brother, they started the car wash at 9 Mile and Hoover and Warren. And very, very early on back in the day. And it just kind of grew from there. It's just kind of a family business.
And then you moved that up here?
My father started a car wash in Fraser when I was a kid. I worked there back in 1966, going forward. And my son, I told him, look, you're not going to get in this business. You don't own it, it owns you. It's like turning your back on a 2-year-old. It's a very involved business, there's a lot to it. And I told him, you're going to college, you may not be suited for this kind of a life. And you can have something to fall back on, but he's exceptionally good at this. He knows what he's doing. He's done it a long time. He's been at it for over 20 years now.
Over 20 years?
Him alone. We open him up.
I always like this word.
That's always been our business model. We keep a small business, we keep it in the city. We even actually started our own charity called Entrepreneurs for Kids, which we have a penny power program at all of our sites, which, we take that penny, we donate that penny we have inner city schools that we work with, a group called Fate in downtown Detroit. Great group of kids. Last year we were able to, I think we had 8 kids, I believe. We were able to donate $5,000 scholarships to each of these kids for further education in either entrepreneurship, business development, anything besides, or higher education. So those are things that just always been kind of part of our business model. We support the local police department, the local fire departments in the city, always have. It's just good business. Any good business owner knows that. We sponsor a baseball team, one of the little league teams in every city that we do business in. Including my son's up in Troy, so. So yeah, like I said, that's always just been our business model.
I feel that
Thank you. Anyone else on council, any comments? Please.
Unlike a rezoning, where we cannot attach conditions to a rezoning, council can attach conditions to a special use approval. And staff has recommended that there be 3 conditions with regard to the motion that's on the floor. They're set forth in the city manager's comments. One of the proposed conditions from staff is to resolve the site plan deficiencies relating to building setback and outdoor self-service vacuum bays or seek appropriate variances from the ZBA. So some of what we've been talking about in terms of setback and whatnot have to proposed condition is limited to 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. in accordance with 10.326 parent 8, which is the E3 general business zoning ordinance. And the third proposed condition is landscape plan and building elevation submitted with the site plan package shall be substantially consistent with preliminary plans submitted with the special use application. So I would ask if the maker of the motion and support would agree to add the conditions to the motion before any vote on this motion or any other motion.
Your Honor, I will make those adjustments.
Councilor Wright? All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Your Honor.
Please.
First, I want to say I appreciated especially the the commitments to community development. These particular initiatives, wonderful. I do want to remind you that there are 2 school districts in the city of Madison Heights, so make sure you think about both of them. But we do. I lived very close to this location for about 15 years, and while Kohl's is a wonderful location now, for many years it was an empty Denny's. It was not a functioning Denny's for well over a decade, I think. So, anything that can go in that spot to improve it and continue to grow, I think is good. When I think about a hub of the city, when people are coming off of I-75 and accessing services in the city of Madison Heights, they have access to, it's Royal Oak there, right? But the Kroger and the gas station, the auto repair, and to me, this really seems like it fits in with that set of amenities that the city offers. When people jump off 75, they get all of those amenities that they need for their vehicle, they jump back on, or they go on home. I just feel like, as this location, it is such a weird location in our city. It is not one that is particularly convenient for other things, and in particular, like if we're looking at retail and stuff like that, it's not really it's not a walkable space. There's nothing like that that's really available there. So I don't see a problem with this as a potential improvement to our city's amenities in that area. I think it actually would be quite beautiful. The particularly the landscaping, they've emphasized that quite a bit. Our current landscaping in that spot is grass. So I'm going to be voting yes tonight.
Thank you. Any other comments?
That's a question. Important to me, what else and fellow council members. You guys ask some questions.
Who you were asking a question to? To the Cosmo. Yes, you can ask the Cosmos people a question. That's the question.
How do you guys define that? Because that's a loaded response. So I was just curious, how are you defining living wages?
In my research, from Madison, the actual website for the city, it shows that average income is $22,000 for a full-time employment in the city. Our employees will be coming in starting at a minimum hourly wage of $13.50, and they'll be incentivized as well. So you're talking about employees that are of minimum wage, generally a minimum wage position, and you're talking about employees making north of, after incentives and everything, $15+ an hour. And we want to hire the best quality of employees. We want them to come on board understanding that they have a career with us, and it's not just a job that we're going to have high turnover, and that's why we're going to do all of the exhaustive recruiting measures to make sure we're only bringing on top-tier talent, and we're going to make sure they're heavily incentivized, and we're doing regular evaluations to make sure that we retain our employees and keep them on board.
Thank you. I was just curious because, did you guys have more to add to that? Did you have more to add to that?
Not in that regard. Go ahead and I'll finish what I think.
I'm voting yes on this because I too think that there's only so many things that can go in that spot. I love Coast Place more than anybody. They know me there enough to know me by name and know my kids. So, but at the same time, there's only so much that can go in certain spots, and it has to make sense logistics-wise, and so that's why I'm in favor of this.
And everything that we do, we want to come in and be stewards of this community. We want to make sure that our brand and our business model sets us apart from everybody else. Not to say there's anything wrong with anybody else's, but the heavy landscaping, the beautiful opaque finish on the building, we want, as customers come off I-75, we want to bring more business to the community of Madison Heights by bringing customers into that car wash because, you know, neighboring communities don't have anything like that as well. So we're, again, looking to do everything that we can to be an amenity, to be something that the community can be proud of, and to, you know, give a new face to car washing in the city of Madison Heights.
Thank you. Are there any, you may sit down, thank you.
Your Honor.
Are there any other?
I do have another question, just not for you guys, but for the guns. We did
Okay,
ask,
gentlemen, thank you.
we did
Can you
ask
sit
what the minimum wage is for Cosmo. What is the minimum wage at the wash point?
So ours varies, depending from trainees starting off at $97 an hour, up until management that are making 30,000 plus, actually even 60-some thousand, depending on positions. So our sites are also tipped wages. So our average employee probably, my GM here can probably give me a little better average on
16 to 20.
yeah, at least $16 to $20 per hour is what we're currently paying, so.
Any other questions or any other comments from council or questions from anyone from council? Mr. Gunn, I have a question for you. Your clientele, whereabouts do they live?
So there's a lot of demographic studies out there that show, and I've done a million of them, and I go to seminars every single year about this. This past 6 months ago, 3 months ago, we were down in Nashville. There's been extensive research of this. If you were to drop a pin at any of my locations, draw about a 1 to 2 mile circle around that, that is my clientele. So 95% of my business comes from that demographic. Now there is outsiders, people that maybe live north or south on that road that commute. They work in the area, so that's why they use my establishments, because they work there, but they may live in a different community. So, but within a 2 mile radius, 95% of my customers live within the community. So our businesses are based for our community. So in our community, our customer base is the people that live here in Madison Heights. So we always have that.
And you made a comment, you live in Troy?
I live in Troy.
So just a
I
few.
live actually just up John.
Okay.
So I'm one of those commuters.
So you live in the community?
Yeah, exactly. So
All
I've
right.
grown up in the east side of this area my whole life, so.
All right, thank you. I will be voting no on this, and it sounds like there are some yeses and some noes. So if there's no other discussion from council, I am going to ask the clerk to do a roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Aaron? No. Mayor Pro Tem Bliss?
No.
Councilman Fleming?
No.
Councilor Rohrbach?
Yes.
Councilman Soltis?
No.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Grafstein?
I vote no, motion fails.
Right?
Yes.
Based on the vote, I think it would be appropriate for a corollary motion to be made to deny the special use approval for the reasons stated by various council members during the course of the meeting. So we had a no vote
Sure.
on a motion to approve. The next motion would be a motion to deny special approval with a vote from council for the reasons stated on the record by the council members.
Okay. Mr. Bliss? So moved. All right, thank you. Support?
Yeah, I support.
Thank you. Any other discussion from council? So we are voting to approve the denial for the reason.
You're voting to
Deny.
the special approval.
All right. So we are voting to deny the special approval. If you want to deny, it's a yes vote.
For the reasons
stated. All right. All in favor of denial signify by stating aye. Aye. Those against say no.
No.
All right. Motion to deny carries 5-2. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have special approval PSP 22-07 for the properties on DeQuinder. Mrs.
The
Marsh?
applicant Hudson Madison 2 LLC requests special use approval for a rest or convalescent home known as the Reserve at Red Run Phase 2. The subject site is located at 30151, 30171, and 30183 DeQuinder Road and consists of 3 separate parcels. The applicant proposes to construct a 60-unit assisted living memory care facility located on the west side of DeQuinder Road, south of Oakland Drive. The subject site is comprised of 3 separate parcels which are currently improved with single-family homes. If the project is approved, the applicant would be required to combine all 3 properties into a single parcel. The applicant has submitted a preliminary site plan for the project. As proposed, the existing single-family homes will be demolished to accommodate a 1-story, 49,792 square feet assisted living and memory care facility. The project is associated with the Reserve at Red Run Independent Senior Living Facility that is currently under construction immediately to the south. The facility will feature on-site medical care services, dining rooms, activity and exercise rooms, and transportation services. A preliminary landscaping plan depicts landscape screening, buffering around the edges of the property and the adjacent DeQuinder Road right-of-way. The proposed project aims to add memory care assisted living component to the Reserve at Red Run Independent Living Facility currently under construction to the south. The northern 2/3 of the subject property borders several vacant landlocked parcels to the west, reducing the direct impact to the adjacent single-family neighborhood. However, the southern third of the site does back up to 3 single-family homes to the west. In order to minimize the effect of the development on these residential properties, staff recommends that the applicant increase the amount of large trees to the southwest corner of the site in order to create a more dense landscape screen. Staff offers the following findings for City Council consideration. The proposed facility is compatible with the uses permitted in the RM Multiple Family Zoning District and with appropriate buffering and screening can be deemed compatible with adjacent single and multifamily residential land uses. The proposed use should not be detrimental to adjacent office, single-family, and multifamily residential uses. The proposed use is not completely aligned with the site's office future land use designation. However, staff recognizes that the existing pattern of detached single-family houses on the subject parcels may not be the highest and best use for the principal arterial road of DeQuinder Road. Further, staff recognizes the need to provide additional housing, especially for those needing assistance due to memory issues. The proposed use generally satisfies the special use approval review standards and criteria listed in section 10.312(1). However, the applicant will need to resolve issues related to the southern building setback and maximum lot coverage, or alternatively seek variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Site Plan Review Committee reviewed the proposed special approval at their June 29th meeting and did not cite concerns regarding the proposed special use. A separate Site Plan Review Committee approval will be required for the final site plan. Based on City Council's approval of the parcel rezoning, staff recommends that City Council approve the requested special use with the following conditions. Resolve site plan deficiencies relating to the southern building setback and maximum lot coverage, or seek the appropriate variances from the ZBA. Upon site plan submittal, provide a revised landscaping plan that depicts a greater number of trees at the southwest corner of the site. The revised landscaping plan should result in a denser landscape buffer and provide satisfaction for the Site Plan Review Committee. If City Council denies, no, that's it.
Okay, thank you. So I'm now going to open this meeting to the public to specifically comment regarding the special approval for the properties on DeQuinder. If anyone wants to speak on that.
Hi, I'm Jeff Buck. I'm representing the ownership group and development team for Reserve at Red Run. I know I was up here a while ago, but there's some new faces. I just wanted to kind of talk about how we came to designing the building and realizing the need for a building like this is Several seniors that have come to tour the new building have asked questions about aging in place and being able to live and continue their life in one place. And this allows you to transition from the independent living building to the memory care and assisted living building. I don't do the care side, but Carl from our team is here to answer questions if council has them. I just wanted to talk about the landscaping too, is we had submitted, I was trying to get that updated because Councilman Bliss at the planning commission had brought that up, and the neighbors that I have spoken to wanted some extra landscaping, and I actually sent that to Matt late today. We finally got it back because of holidays and everybody seems to be booked up, but we've added a lot more landscaping in that area that we actually touch the single family away from the landlocked parcels. The other thing I just wanted to say is a lot of the people coming to see the building are seniors that are living in Madison Heights, adult children that live in Madison Heights trying to bring their parents into the city. We've had a lot of previous residents that have moved to other buildings outside the city now wanting to come back, and also people that have worked in Madison Heights or have other ties to Madison Heights. I'm here to answer any other questions about the building. It is one story, 60 units. And Carl's here to answer any kind of operational questions that I cannot. So I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to comment regarding the DeQuinder properties? No? No public, okay, I'm going to close public comment for this then, and we have one comment that was sent in.
I received an email from Mary Bush on East Hudson. It states, I strongly support the rezoning for and planned building of the Reserve Phase 2 for a convalescent and memory care center. My 72-year-old sister is moving to Reserve at Red Run, Phase 1 this fall, and I will be joining her in about 5 years or sooner if my disabilities progress. We are both without family or children, and knowing we can stay in a system that already knows us and our needs as we age, and staying in our beloved Madison Heights is important, particularly should one of us die before the other. I was appalled by the neighbor who didn't want a memory care facility near her home. I remember this not in my backyard NIMBY attitude about group homes for people with physical and cognitive disabilities back in the 70s and the 80s. Surely we have developed more compassion and understanding as a community over the past 40 years. I'm certain this is a good company that will address the green space issue and continue to be a good neighbor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. What is the wish of council?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I move that we grant special approval 2207 with the conditions as outlined, the first, the setback and lot coverage, as well as the second one on the revised landscape plan.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'll support.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion among council?
Your Honor?
Yep.
I just want to point out, as was mentioned, there were some concerns shared by neighbors at the planning commission, and, you know, it's great to see that those were addressed. You know, I know that's a part of the condition that we would be approving this under, but it was nice to see that that was taken care of prior to getting to this point. I'm very, very thankful for that. And I see this as something we desperately need in the community. You know, we're looking at, you know, what we have in Madison Heights. This is something that doesn't exist. Excuse me. And we have an aging population that on average is older than many of our neighboring communities. And so being able to allow our residents to stay in place and move from their homes or condos into the first facility, and then moving from the first facility into the second facility, allowing them to stay in the city that they've called home all their lives. I think it's a good thing, and I will be voting yes.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, discussion?
John, I have
Please.
a question for staff.
Sure.
During our last CDA meeting, did we or did we not deny the setback for the signs? I'm trying to remember.
Your Honor, the setback for the sign variance was approved. Was, and I believe, I just want to make sure we're talking about the right project, there was one on the Quinder.
Yes.
Yes, that was approved to reduce the setback of the sign.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes, please.
I had a question, somebody,
Sorry.
So, yeah, I've been in healthcare, I think, about 20 years, and I've worked in different areas. And so my question is for, I'm familiar with dementia units or Alzheimer's units. So what is the price that you charge per month? What is that roughly, if you had to put a number on it? And that's all inclusive, right? That includes food, care, or is that like a à la carte, or how does that work?
So for the assisted living and memory care, assisted living would be somewhere around $5,000 a month, all inclusive of care and all those services, and slightly more for memory care.
Slightly more for memory care?
Yes, just because staffing ratios are higher.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Do you approximately, do you have another
I'm
facility?
going to ask you to stand at the podium.
Oh,
Sorry,
yes,
no,
sir.
sorry.
Glad to.
Do you have another facility that you can reference, the cost, the total cost?
Sure. Yeah, we do. So memory care, depending on the care that the person might need, would be somewhere around $5,500 to $6,000 a month for total care, including all the services that are needed.
And that's obviously 24/7.
Of course.
And
Very labor intensive.
Right, a lot more,
Sure.
now.
Exactly.
And how is that range with the market right now?
I think it's right in the mid-range. It's not something on the high end, and, there's many places that can be $7,000, $8,000 a month for that type of care, depending, so we wanted to find something that was affordable for individuals who lived here in the community. So it's right in the middle of what you'll see from an industry perspective.
So if you can answer for me, the difference in your mind between you're a for-profit and then you have nonprofit hospital systems. So how would you compare yourself to a nonprofit in terms of cost, service?
Well, in fact, I have worked for nonprofits as well, so I've been on both sides of that.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll find that there's not a major difference in cost, because the costs are for the care and all the services are pretty fixed. So it's not going to be remarkably different either way.
So by you saying that you have seen what the cost is for a nonprofit?
Oh, certainly, certainly. Absolutely.
You're saying it's relatively the same?
It is, it is.
Thank you.
I have a question, Your Honor.
Please.
So, just doing quick math, $5,000 a month is $60,000 a year.
Yes.
Do you guys take into consideration, we definitely care about our seniors who are aging in place, our elderly. Those folks are going to try and stay in their home as long as possible, and then potentially maybe go to a red run and go from there. Are there ways in which you guys are going to work with our seniors who are on Medicaid or Medicare? Is that in consideration, particularly for the dementia and for the other facilities where more help is needed? Because those are the folks who are going to be most on a fixed income. That's something that we always have seniors talk about. I've never heard them joke, I'm on a fixed income. So is that something you guys can accommodate?
Good question. So in assisted living, Medicare or Medicaid does not pay for that type of care. It's just part of that system that it doesn't pay for that. There are some other benefits, such as the veterans benefit if somebody's a veteran or they were married to a spouse of a veteran. There's some substantial benefits that we will help them accomplish that by giving it. And it could be as much as $2,000 a month. So you think of somebody who has a good pension, and then you can also add the veterans benefit. It will pretty much cover much of that cost for them.
Your Honor?
No.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I just real quick, in terms of Medicaid, right, nursing homes, they have Medicaid units, and they accept Medicaid, and especially also with the dementia unit. So that does exist.
Oh, but only in a nursing home.
Right.
There's no provision within Medicaid to pay for assisted living. Or the same is true with Medicare, because that's a short-term skilled care benefit that can only be performed in a nursing home.
Right, but there is people or seniors that have to go into a dementia unit, and they do go in it with the Medicaid. You know,
If it's in a nursing home, that is correct,
That's right.
yes.
That's what I'm just saying, there is a distinction, and there is that market, at least for that service that's available out there.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Your Honor, please. So to understand correctly, although you don't take Medicaid, no insurance is accepted in assisted living,
That's correct, except for the veterans benefit.
except for the veteran. So $60,000 a year when the median income is possibly $45,000 for a senior, kind of cuts out a lot of savings. Okay, thank you. I was just calculating in my head.
Any other comments, questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Motion carries, thank you. Next up, we have meeting open to the public. This is the opportunity for the public to address council. I ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. This podium, address your comments to me and the public.
Yes, that's me. Your Honor, council members, my name is Rob Paquette. I live at 26332 Hampton. I've been a resident of the City of Progress for 56 years. I am here tonight to ask the city to adopt or draft an ordinance calling for the maintenance or treatment or removal of nuisance trees. Grosse Pointe Woods, Beverly Hills, Ferndale, Oak Park, thousands other municipalities across our state and the country have such ordinances. Nuisance trees can do damage in many different ways. Financial hardship. Sorry, I'm a little nervous here, I'm not a public speaker. Short term, in the short term, structurally weak trees can cause damage by large falling branches, which has happened to me in the past. In the long term, it can happen in various ways. They can clog gutters. Clogged gutters can cause structural damage to residential wood, cause damage to the wood of residential buildings. Lifespans of roofs are decreased when rotting material, small branches constantly bombarding and impacting it. Roofs are not cheap to replace. Extra due diligence is required to keep gutters clear during the summer months. Avoid rotting eaves or because of rotting debris. Financially, if you're a senior or you're disabled and not able to perform such maintenance as climbing on roofs to maintain them, hiring an outside professional is the way to keep your property protected from nuisance trees. Costly. Typically on warm days when residents are outside using their yard, diseased, infested, or distressed trees frequently shed leaf litter. And infested with trees infested with Dutch elm disease have beetles actively infesting the area, typically making time wanted to spend outside in your yard undesirable or unusable. This is a loss of use of one's property. Infested trees also create breeding grounds for other insects such as earwigs and black ants. So in closing, yes, we know infested nuisance trees cause problems, whether it be cleaning out the garden every day, so not to be infested with insects, or hiring someone to go on the roof and clean your gutters, or added energy costs with equipment to maintain your property. Finally, it's not fair to residents living near nuisance trees that they should lose the use of their property, incur extra costs for maintaining their property due to the tree, have to replace landscape materials and roofing at a higher frequency because of nuisance trees, bear higher costs to maintain the property through the use of power equipment on a more frequent basis, to shield their homes with insecticides from invading insects, or hire professionals to come out and clean areas that seniors or disabled people can't, and so much more. Other cities such as Grosse Pointe Woods protect their residents with such ordinance. I ask council to protect the residents of our great city in the same manner.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak this evening? All right, I'm going to close, open to the public. There were no comments. All right. So next up, we have approval of the city council meeting minutes from June 27th. Can I get a motion from council to approve?
Your Honor, so moved.
Support?
Support, Your Honor.
Made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No. Motion carries. That concludes the main meeting, and I now invite closing comments. Starting with Councilman Frank.
Thank you, Your Honor. In lieu of time, I will hold on to my comments from you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Bliss?
Wow, now I feel terrible when I'm saying something. Thank you for that. I'm sure that, our environmental council liaison and, our mayor who rejuvenated our environmental board will have things to say about the invasive and infested nuisance trees. But I wanted to thank you for speaking. And, 50 some odd years you said?
56 years.
56 years. Is this your first council meeting?
First one.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Better late than never. So thank you for that. I appreciate a lot of the debate that we had tonight. I think it's good for us to look at these types of issues and approach it from different angles. The votes where we're unanimous are not as good for our city as the ones where we have some division and discourse and discussion. Honestly, I honestly believe that if all levels of government could disagree amicably without we'll say the theatrics involved, I think we'd all be a lot better off. One thing that may be an issue though, terrible transition, I'm tired, it's been a long day, but I don't understand, and this for however many years now in a row, I do not understand how our ordinance for burning in our yards, so having our own little fire pits, our ordinance basically prohibits 80% of residential houses from doing it because the ordinance is X amount of space between your structure and the house next door and all of that. We look the other way mostly, but that ordinance is there, and it always boggles my mind when I see people lighting off fireworks in way less distance than that, shooting over people's houses next door to them, whereas the only risk of somebody's, fire pit is it might catch their own garage on fire, not like their neighbors because they shot off a giant fireworks show. So I don't have much of an answer. The state mandates that we have to make fireworks legal. Technically, people are shooting it off illegally because they're not, they're doing so, either too close to structures or on city property, but it's way too hard to police. So I would like us to address maybe the hypocrisy involved of basically not allowing these fire pit uses when we're okay with all of these fireworks being shot off. I mean, at least that's how it looks out to the public. And I would just like us to make that a little bit, I don't want to say looser regulation, but I think if the person has their fire extinguisher next to them, they're manning the fire pit, the distances that we have are kind of ludicrous in my opinion. So I'd like us to look into that. That's it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wright?
First, I'd like to say thank you for coming out and speaking. I didn't know what it feels like to be up there for the first time. And you look at this friendly group of people, whomever they might be, and you're like, what was I about to say?
Oh, you're all friendly.
So thank you for saying that, and I agree, that's awesome. I know the folks on the environmental committee and the mayor are on it, and I agree, as I was spending this whole weekend cutting down trees along my fence and regretting it. So I don't have too much more to add than just to make a comment on it being, I know it as BIPOC Mental Health Month, which is Black Indigenous People of Color. I guess now they call it Minority Mental Health, which afterwards I call it BIPOC to the mayor, but I guess now they call it Minority Mental Health. And I thought about what that meant to me, and what that means is like, just check in on your friends. Like when we have all these holidays and we continue to talk about mental health and stuff, it's not to be played with or used performatively to earn points or to get a pat on the shoulder. We just need to check on each other. Men, women, people who stay at home all day or not, you know, we just need to check on one another. That's all we're trying to remind each other, is that we all, as human beings, have different experiences, and we just need to acknowledge that and just say, hey, how you doing? It's that simple. I have nothing else. Oh, just remember to be kind.
Your Honor, no comments this evening. Thank you.
Anything from the clerk's office?
Yes, sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Absentee ballot applications for the August 2nd and the November 8th election are available in the city clerk's office. You can get one online. You can come into our office. You can call us and we can send you one. The last day to register anywhere but the local clerk's office for the August 2nd election is July 18th. After this date, if you need to register to vote, you need to come into the clerk's office to do so in person through election day. Just a reminder that the precinct location for Precinct 8, which was formerly the Active Adult Center, is now located at Page Middle School. The entrance will be by the ball fields off of Edward. And then also a reminder for the August election, this is a primary election. This is the election where you select candidates for a particular party. You cannot split your ticket or it will not count. So if you're going to vote on the Democratic side, you can only vote on the Democratic side. If you're going to vote on the Republican side, you can only vote on the Republican side. If you have submitted your ballot and you did accidentally vote for both parties, you can come in and spoil your ballot and get a new ballot. That's all I have.
I first want to say Eid Mubarak to all those that are celebrating. So I'm the counselor that they keep saying that I'm sure she has something to say about this. The Environmental Citizens Committee liaison, and I do definitely want to get you more information, and we can bring that up to the Environmental Citizens Committee and discuss issues pertaining to recommendations for council for future use for the trees.
If you need any further information from me, feel free. I can give you my information. You can contact me.
I would, so stick around, I'll shoot you afterwards. That's all I've got tonight. Thank you.
I wanted to make note that in the end of August is when we select new or reselect people that are on the different commissions and committees. And so if you're looking to be on a commission or committee, we have, like I have the crime commission, and we have one person that is missing that needs to be appointed for a reserve spot, someone back, one of the full-time people. So if you're looking to be on a committee, now is the time to be putting in for that at the clerk's office. There's a link on the website that you can go down and fill out the form and do it. There's a lot of positions that are open, so you know, that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, so just real quick, Red Oaks is open to the public. There's also a dog park, but you can walk your dog there too. But just please clean up afterwards, because I'm riding my bike and I'm dodging, and it's just not a good sight. So the public out there, please do what you can. Mayor Pro Tem, I did not shoot those bottle rockets at you, so no matter what they said, that's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you everyone who came out to speak today. Just, you know what, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that has a lot of people upset. You never know what anyone's going through, so please remember to be kind. Please remember to clean up after yourselves, whether it is litter or your pet. Please remember to watch out for bikes, and when you're driving, don't just look one way, look both ways, because you never know if someone is walking, biking, you who's around or kids that run out, so please just remember to look out for each other. The time is 9 o'clock.